5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Good evening, everybody. How are we doing? I'm still fucking freezing. What? I should just move out to Lanzarote, shouldn't I? It is absolutely... It's raining outside. The only good thing about the rain is it does keep the seagulls away. How the devil are you? Honestly, I'm out of the country. I'm out of the country for 1 week, and what happens? The club goes to pot. But look, all joking aside, it is a bit of a serious subject tonight, and I just wanted to say, I think we all sort of are disgusted by some of the things we heard from the City end against Norwich on Saturday. And I'd like to say, sort of along with other Leicester City YouTube and social media accounts, LTID TV in no way supports or condones the behaviour of some of the away fans at Norwich on Saturday. As a social media outlet, LTID TV's position, as well as to praise and support our club, is also to criticise and call out the club and its players and staff when it is felt it is needed. However, there are lines of decency that should never be crossed, but were very much so with the chants that represented, and I quote, death threats towards the Director of Football, John Rudkin, as well as songs targeting Chairman Top that had undercurrents of xenophobia. Football matches should have banter. That's what football's all about. But that banter and chanting and singing should be kept within the bounds of decency and respect. And for me, they're not football fans. It's like going back to the 70s. They go just to cause trouble. And it probably sounded worse because it was the away end and we didn't... there was no sort of fans to, drown it out. But can I just say, on a personal level, totally and utterly disgusted with each and every single fan that was doing that on Saturday at Norwich City. Let's get on with it, shall we, and see what my fellow guests got to say. Let's talk Leicester. Gentlemen, a very good evening. I'll start with the most important question of the evening. How much have you missed me, Craig?
Sorry, have you been away?
Not as often as you, it is fair to say. But yes, I am trying to keep up with you, Mr. Alan Wicker.
Yeah, as you should. I did see some posts from abroad. Nice to see that you were maintaining your British standards whilst enjoying a bit of Spanish lifestyle with your Sunday roast.
Oh, bloody hell. That Sunday roast was absolutely off the plate, literally.
to be fair, a Sunday roast is what everyone goes abroad for. You know?
It is. It totally. No, as well as, let's not forget, Dave, you'll back me up here, as well as the full English.
And fish and chips.
Well, I know I didn't quite go that far, but I did in true Spanish fashion. I thought I'll have some local food, and Wayne had a pizza.
I was thinking for an Italian word, but I'm coming up with Spanish ones. I don't mind freeze there, Chris. But I must say, it is mental cruelty that you are sort of flaunting nice weather when it's absolutely gloriously pissing it down in Leicestershire.
As it is there.
Really appreciate the thoughtfulness there, Chris.
Yesterday, I actually wore a white outfit just to show the tan off, so you should be grateful that I haven't gone that far tonight.
Which one was it? Was that Randall or Hopkirk?
Hey, if I'd got it, I would have worn it. We just, oh, hello, Dave. Who's there?
That's Kathy. Right. Princess Leia, wasn't it, Chris?
Nice.
Is that the one
It's
you
live,
like?
folks. It's live. Yeah. Any minute now, Dave's going to start saying, fuck off, I'm recording. Get out. Shut the door. Go away.
No, important provisions.
Wow. Fair enough.
Can't beat a bit of Malbec when I'm talking to you,
You
boys.
can't. Just don't whine on about it. The interesting thing was, on the Tuesday night when we were playing, who did we play Tuesday? Middlesbrough, wasn't it? On the Tuesday night, and we found this pub that we hadn't been in before. We've been a few times, and it was a sports bar. And we were talking to the lady before we went that runs it, and she's a West Ham fan. But we went in, and it was about 20 minutes of the game to go, and she said, "What match do you want to watch, guys?" I said, "Well, we wouldn't mind sort of the Leicester Middlesbrough game." She said, "Oh, just go and sit over there, and it's on that screen up there." And I went over. I went to this guy, so he'd got a Leicester shirt on. I went, "Oh, hi, mate, how you doing? You a Leicester fan as well?" And there was like 6 of them there, all Leicester fans. and then Ian Peake, you may know him on Facebook. He was on holiday there with his mother and uncle, so I met him as well. And then we went down to a place called the Scotch Corner, and this guy walked out and he had this lovely fox top on. So I've got to ask you, I said, "Where did you get it from? I'm a Leicester fan, and it was where the fox is." And I went, "Oh, so am I." So that was another one. And then we met some on the last day, but on the last day it was spoiled because we also met a Forest and a Derby fan, so can't help it. Look, guys, all joking aside, look, we know what the answer is going to be, but banter is fine, and we all like a bit of a laugh and and a joke, and you go and you scream at the opposition for 90 minutes and then go home. But it was totally 100% out of order, wasn't it, Craig?
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts on it. It's been out of order for a long time, and they kind of just took it, one step further. Just when you think they can't get any worse, they go down that route. And anybody who tries in any way to justify it is kind of just sad. And there's absolutely no way that you will change the mind of anybody who thinks that kind of thing is acceptable. Any of the chanting anyway, of the negativity, to create a negative environment in a place where you're trying to promote positivity. I just don't understand at all. Be as negative as you want before and after, but it's almost like it's part of their fun now to just see how far they can push it, and I don't understand it, and I don't think most normal-minded peoples can get their head around it.
No, I mean, we all love our clubs, and it's passionate and what have you. And we come on these shows, especially on the post-match, as Wayne will tell you, and we all have our rant and what have you. And it does get like, well, yes, we want John Rudkin sacked, and Top should sell the club. We go that, but not so far as threatening to have somebody killed or wanting somebody killed or having to go at their ethnicity.
Who are these people? Do we know?
Well, they call themselves football fans, Dave, but I don't think they are.
Is there a group? Is it that lot that go in the corner at the cop end and have these banners and then stuff like that, or are these a separate lot?
I wasn't there, so I can't say who it was, and it would be wrong of me.
Spencer was there, wasn't he? I just wondered if he might know. See, I've been to a few away games over the last 4 or 5 years, and I could probably recognise them from the way they behave. And it's not just, I mean, this is when Brendan was in charge, and yeah, we all felt that pain, but their language, their attitude, they don't give a monkeys that there are kids sitting in front of them. I was sitting, probably told you before, at Brighton with in front of me was a mother and 2 young children who'd come to the game, and they were giving it all sorts of rubbish. And, the language was disgusting. It wasn't just basic swearing, it was filth. And, why are they still in there? Why are they still being allowed to go to matches? That's what I don't understand. I mean, we've got some stuff today, I think, or yesterday came out from the Bentley Road lot, or Bentley Roof stuff, sorry. I don't think it would be them, but, we must be able to figure it out and ban them from the club because they're a disgrace and they're destroying this football club. Forget what Rudkin and the others are doing. They're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, Wayne, totally, agree with what both Craig and Dave said there. It's almost having the opposite effect. By going as far as they have done, it's turning public tide against them, or public, what's the word I'm looking for? Public support against them.
Yeah, I think they maybe got carried away with it's a human thing, isn't it? You get popular. You get a voice that some people think is important, and then you run with that, and you get carried away too far with that. I think that's what's happened. It is a modern sort of social media fueled thing, I think, but it's always been around in football. But other uber competitive, almost martial sports, they have mutual respect for each other. And in football, the language in football, from throwing bananas at John Barnes to Saka missing the penalty for England, getting all the abuse he got, that some people just think it's the perfect environment for them to be venomous, spout hate, and it probably reflects on the way they are as people, irrespective of what other people think. And I think it's the complete sort of, it's a complete disregard for or lack of respect, especially in the recent, although this has happened, I think for me it was distasteful, which Craig and David talked on about with sort of the whole family and some fans saying, oh, just piss off and all that sort of thing. It's just ridiculously ungrateful, super short memory. And it's not reflective of most of the people that I speak to at Sport Leicester City.
I mean, I'm very much a case of always be careful what you wish for, but there are ways of doing things, and like I say, I am very vocal about my criticism of John Rudkin and about Top's running of the club, but there are limits as to how far you can go. Craig, look, you go to every home game. You're a season ticket holder. It's usually, I think, and I am guessing here, but I believe a lot of the worst chanting at the home games come from Cop 1.
Yeah, it's that corner where Union FS, who think they are some sort of official part of the club.
We're not saying that this was Union FS.
No, but it's that area. So if you know where they are with their banners, and in the past they've been such a kind of positive group, they are the ones who are all singing and this, that, and the other, and it's really, in many ways, it's sad to see what it's become. I know someone who sits/stands in that corner. And I've spoken to them a few times about it, and they're quite, they're quite quietly spoken, and I can understand how people get carried away with the mob. I used to go down when I started going regularly in the late 70s, early 80s, there were some horrific things being sung back then, and everybody joined in, and you get carried away with that mob mentality. But that corner, has been pretty well treated by the club in terms of that. That's where they put the safe standing in. They've tried to accommodate them in lots of ways, and it's being repaid by this constant abuse. And it literally is the worst thing at any home game now. It makes it less enjoyable. That's the worst part. We went through all of those games last season not scoring a goal. It was worse having to listen to the constant abuse that was coming from the corner and negativity. And to get it in your mindset that, you can cause that much negativity, if you just think we could cause that much positivity as well just by switching it. But there's not enough people in that group, I don't think, and I'm not saying it's UNFS, it's just in that corner, to sort of stand up and say, well, let's try a different approach. Let's try and be positive and see what that does.
Yeah. Was that the 1870s, by the way?
Yes, Chris. Yeah. Just after you started going.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I thought I saw you there. Yeah. Dave, it's peer pressure, isn't it? Because I've been to away games, and sometimes when you get the tickets, you obviously don't know where you're standing. You're not a regular going away, and it's scary, to be honest with you, being in the Leicester end at away games sometimes because of the personalities that are there. I mean, I think we've always accepted that those fans that go to away games are, more stalwarts and, because they do go to I'm not saying they're any better fans or whatever, but, they are ones that go sort of home and away. But would you, and I've been, like I say, to Southampton away and obviously Bournemouth away. I wouldn't want to stand up in the middle of all that and go, guys, just pin it down a little bit.
No. Well, actually, I did at Brighton. I turned around and asked him what the hell he was doing because of the kids there. Not my kids, but kids. And he said, well, it's shit. I said, well, yeah, it's not very good, but, there were young children there. But at that game, and where else was it? I can't remember. Anyway, that game, they were individuals, like a couple of mates. There weren't a group of them all doing the same thing. I mean, they were pretty drunk, so they'd obviously been drinking all the way down. They genuinely felt annoyed. I get that. I did, but I don't think they've got the brain power to actually stop themselves. I think they're just that kind of, I don't know, that kind of person that is just an idiot and will go around kicking bins over and things because he's bored. And I think those have just got to be kicked out of the club and banned. We cannot carry on like this. It's going to destroy the football club.
You would think, would you not, Wayne, with all the cameras that are about these days, if you were to park on a double yellow outside Carrow Road, they would pick you up within 30 minutes. You cause trouble at a football match and they struggle to make your face out. You know what I mean? Yeah, 70 miles an hour as well down the 77 miles an hour down the motorway speed. They can pick your face out as the driver. So they should be able to pick these people out. Now, hopefully the club's talking to Norwich about looking at the CCTV and saying, right, show us pictures.
Yeah, when they said that they were singing it in the concourse, that did make me think, oh, that's interesting, because they should be really well cameraed up. And to be honest, you don't want people like that. One of my friends, he went to see Arsenal when they played Leicester, the women.
Oh, never mind.
But he says it's a great atmosphere. Some of the family go down to the women's match and they said it's, like we've watched the women's football. They don't roll around. They don't hurl abuse at the referees, for instance. I think the football organisation has got blood on its hands with regards to that. But definitely, they would have been cambered up in the concourse, and hopefully people get banned for it, because it shouldn't. It's okay being emotional, but abuse and sort of violent speak, it's just ridiculous. Is football that important, or is your life that sad that you feel you need to sort of do that to other people?
Totally. I mean, before we just go on to Ukraine, I mean, you can see there that Leicester City issued this statement. We welcome the statement issued today by the supporters groups and representatives from the fan advisory board.
Sorry, Chris, can I just say one more thing for that? I don't think some of these fans go to for the football, because I've watched them a lot in the away end, and they don't even watch the damn game. They're trying to get a song going, or just cause some abuse, and they're booing well early in the game as well. I'm not sure they actually watch the football, and that's been happening for a few years.
It's a good point, and one that I'm writing down, because I do want to actually come back to that. But just going back to in the concourse and in the stands of Norwich and stands at Norwich, there were chants that represented death threats towards Director of Football John Rudkin, as well as a range of songs targeting Chairman Top that had undercurrents of xenophobia. I mean, I don't get this being the city that we are, Craig. Why? I mean, we are totally. I was extolling the virtues the other day on my radio show, which is nowhere near Leicester. It's down in Dorset. And I was saying, if you ever go to Leicester, you need to do the Golden Mile. It is absolutely amazing. The colour, the sound, especially if there's a festival on, and that's one thing I'm kind of a little bit proud of about Leicester. We are so multicultural. And then you get idiots like this just stirring things up again. Because if they're saying this to somebody like Top, what are they going to be saying to normal people? What are they saying to the kids?
Yeah, you do worry about, the mentality, to be honest, of these kind of people who just think that in a certain environment it's okay to give abuse out. I agree with you. There's enough cameras at football now to highlight them. And those cameras should just be trained on those areas where it's emanating from, and they should be banned and taken out of it, and encourage them to go and do something else with their time. Because I don't understand it. If you hate it so much, why you continue to go? The mentality of it is staggering, that you would spend money doing something that you don't enjoy. And so that shows the mentality of it. And, they think that they can hide behind it being a football match, and that makes it acceptable. You can't really talk about it in the way that you would talk about discussing normal human behavior, because it's just, as much as it's disgusting, it's baffling. I'm bemused by it as much as disgusted, because I wouldn't do it if I hated it that much. I wouldn't be spending my money on it. I would do something else.
Maybe you're presuming too much that these people actually have the brains to think about these things.
Well, you say that, Chris, and I do wonder that some people must get up in the morning, and the first thing they do is, what can I put on social media that's going to get me a lot of response? Whether it's people liking it, hating it, or whatever. But if the first thing that you do when you get up in the morning, we all love football. If that's
the first thing I do when I get up in the morning is have a shit, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, can you stop putting that on social media as well, Chris?
If I put pictures of me my food out, I'm going to put pictures of where it ends up.
Yeah. But it's that mentality that it becomes a competition almost, and anybody who gives any kind of thought that we are the type of club and the size of club that is going to be a yo-yo club, then we're all described as being part of the problem, because we're accepting mediocrity. So you get attacked for that. when the reality is that we know there's going to be tough times. We know there's going to be good times, and without the bad times, it's a cliche, but without the lows, you don't enjoy the highs as much. But
100%.
And nobody in the right mind is saying that the club has done everything right, because clearly they haven't. But it's all about perspective. And at the last home game, you had someone who had a cardiac arrest and was being worked on by the medical people during the game, and for some reason, apparently, usually in these circumstances, the games are stopped, but the Football League told them to carry on and play on. Whether it was because it was TV, who knows how far that reach has gone these days. But someone almost lost their life watching football because it's something they enjoy doing. Yet these people, just come and think it's okay to hurl abuse and it's the most important thing in their lives, and it's clearly not.
Yeah. I mean, I remember way back, we got promoted, I think it was, and the last game of the season was against Doncaster. And one of their fans had passed away. One of ours had passed away on the way. Didn't even get to the game. And out of that, with the thanks of Gail Rabicki, we had created quite a good bond between Leicester fans and Doncaster fans. I think, I don't know, obviously, if, I give up speaking about something about what the Football League and the Premier League do. They should have stopped the game. But look, the point you made, Dave, before, I want to come back to, is they're not going to watch the game. One of the guys that I met when I was in, did I say I've been to Lanzarote, by the way? But one of the guys that I met when I was there, allegedly, I'm not, because he didn't tell me this, but someone else told me this, that he used to be in the baby squad. Now, you all remember the baby squad. And we all remember. We can all remember the film. I remember the film, but I can't remember what it was called. About where these guys that were estate agents and respectable people just went along to West Ham just for the fights, not for the football. Are we regressing back to the 70s?
Well, I do object to you calling estate agents respectable people for a start. They're crooks. But
Allegedly.
No, definitely. I don't think we're regressing. I think the problem we've got is that, in the old days, they used to have the things in the Cop Rangers Celtic, didn't they? They'd punch each other, and some other, whatever it was, United City, I don't know what it was, but that always went on. Our postman in Bognor Regis was one of those thugs. Seriously.
Oh, no, I wonder where that was going then.
No, he was one of those.
Did he have a little black and white cat called Jess, by any chance?
Yes. No, that was his wife. He went in jail for all that in that era. And that would have been the early 70s, I think, wasn't it? That's when it all started, when I didn't like to walk into Filbert Street with my scarf on, because over the car park, you had all the away supporters coming in. And you were vulnerable.
Oh, yeah.
But that was pure violence. This is slightly different because these are a bunch of cowards who can only sing a song or two about that with everybody else protecting them. They haven't got the guts to actually show themselves or go outside and have a punch-up. They're just hiding behind each other. So, you wonder, should you give them any no credibility, obviously, give them any time, or should you just say they're just a bunch of idiots and they should be banned, find them out and get rid of them?
I think these sort of things will always get time, and it's a good point what you say. We are giving them the time by doing shows like this, and it's the same with TV shows. I mean, there's so many news channels, 24-hour news channels that cover the sort of violence and what have you, which is giving airspace to things that aren't very good. It's the same with football sites as well. And I can remember talking of the 70s, going down on a Friday night to watch Leicester at home to Chelsea, and it was when there was 4 pens behind the goal and they're all being used. and I was in Pen 2, and I took my mate Colin, and some of you I may have told this story to before. And the thing about Colin was, loved him to bits, such a lovely character. Maybe he could have done with another couple of lights on, but he was, a lovable character. But his big asset that he was built like a brick shithouse, so I always felt a little bit safer with him. But we were in the in Pen 2, I think it would have been. I think there was 4 anyway, and Chelsea were in Pen 1, and there was flares going off in the family stand down the side and fighting in there, and you just weren't enjoying the game. And then of course Leicester do. I mean, you never trust Leicester to do anything, do you? I mean, no, they went and scored. I mean, no, don't upset the Chelsea fans here, but they went and scored just before half time. Thank God Chelsea equalised. That calmed them down. And at half time, I said to Colin, I said, shall we go? Because I'm just not enjoying this at all. And he went, yeah, no, I agree with you. I said, we'll go and have a pint somewhere. And we couldn't get out. Because back in the day, they used to lock all the doors. Great health and safety, wasn't it? So we couldn't get out. So we finally found a policeman who would let us out. And he sort of opened the door slowly, stuck his head out, looked both ways, said, run for your fucking lives, and we ran. And that night, there actually was a stabbing between the two teams. But Wayne...
Didn't happen that often, though, did it, Chris?
It happened once more than I would have wanted it to.
Yes,
because I didn't enjoy that game at all.
No.
And it is, Wayne, they like you say, they're not... when I've been to away games and you look and they're not watching the match. All they're doing is watching the home fans. They're not, and they paid the money. Do you think if we're not careful, it is going to end up back that way?
Yeah, I don't know whether it's like most of the sort of violence, not most of the violence, allegedly in society comes from disaffected people, don't younger people who are more fire and emotional. It was really scary back in them times. If you turn the wrong way coming out of Filbert Street, or you'd be thinking you needed to be in the herd, because otherwise, if you were single, you'd be in trouble. But yeah, I mean, one thing's interesting though. I mean, the Norwich fans. I don't know why me and my brother we were next to the Norwich fans. They had the drummers banging in. The Leicester fans were giving them jip. A couple of seasons ago, last time we were in the Championship. We're saying, oh, you're going down. And then the Norwich fans are going, yeah, we're going down. And they're banging the drums about that. And that's such a great attitude to have. And like, you wouldn't be able to walk past, if you go down King Power now, you can literally walk past all the away fans coming out. And you're not scared at all, and that's a great atmosphere. That's like rugby's been for donkey's years. And I don't know, it's just through social media, it's rising again. And people feel they can be brave in social media. And like as Darren Brown said, like Craig said, it's a herd mentality, isn't it?
Or they feel secure in the gang. When they do that on their own. The thing is, Craig, like I say, you go to the home games. Do you think they would be doing that at home? And if so, what would the reaction of the rest of the crowd be?
I think it needs the rest of the crowd to start, being more vocal as well. And how you do that, whether you just start booing or whatever, I don't know. Maybe they should give us the clappers back and we can drown them out. They're
not gone, have they?
I thought they were back. They're not.
Yeah. They're there. They are there, and you can have one if you want one. They're handed out as you go in.
Elective seats.
Yeah, they're not even put on the seats. There's somebody there handing them out. If you want one,
a bit like my wife. If anybody wants it, she's there.
Okay, thanks. Where's she live?
Hi, Cass. Carry on, Craig. Sorry.
But yeah, I would hope that it's reached the zenith. So you're just drowning me out. Yeah,
he's got his clappers out.
I would hope. I could say something. I would hope that it's reached a point now where we just step back from it, and that may be naive thinking on the back of it that the fans actually sort of rally around and pull together and recognise that Leicester used to be loved. You know, it used to be loved by everyone, you know, for what we achieved. And that's become like this poison that has started to infiltrate through the club on and the expectation of where our club should be. As I say, there's clearly mistakes been made. But anybody who thinks that one man in a football club is responsible for the downfall of it, you know, is not beyond, you know, any intelligence. It's, you know, there's a lot of people who have made a lot of mistakes at our football club over the past 5 or 6 years, and it's there for all to see. But, you know, poisoning the club from within isn't going to turn that around. And I hope that this is like the point that's broken it, and hopefully the majority can start having a voice and bringing it back to where it was. And it used to be King Power. You know, we were all there, you know, in the glory days a few years ago when it was rocking. You know, it's cliche to say it's worth an extra point, or an extra man. But it was such a loud place, and people always commented on the atmosphere of that place. And now it's a horrible place to watch your football.
Or play it.
Yeah.
Wasn't it against Norwich that we created a bit of a mini earthquake?
Yeah, the Ajoa last-minute goal. Yes. Yeah, I mean, one thing really pleased me, just to try and bring some positivity to this. Nothing to do with the fans and the reaction of the players when JJ scored that goal. Yeah. I thought was fantastic to see. You know, people like Mavididi, who have been getting so much stick, you know, and has not been playing, he's been on the bench. But his reaction when that goal went in, and to hear the manager say that after the game, the things that he's trying to say are cultural, I thought was really telling, which says it's a mindset amongst the players that has been lost, and a team bonding that seems to have been lost, and an idea that you're professional footballers and you should give everything when you're on the pitch. These are the cultural things that I think he was talking about. So for me, it was great to see that reaction. And if that is what we get going forward, then hopefully that mood will then translate into the stands and it can start turning positive.
Just talking about players quickly, Dave, I saw a thing come up the other day on social media that was listing, because we can still go and sign quite a few freebies at the moment. Oxlade Chamberlain is available. The other Aaron Ramsey is available. And Daniel Amati is available.
I thought you'd mention that one.
I wouldn't have done, but he was on the list. What can I say?
I'll play him in midfield, he'll be fine.
Get Big Dan back, that's what we say. What gets me, Dave, right, and it is how hypocritical these fans are. I mean, the one incident I will go back to is when we played Wolverhampton just after the sad demise of Vichai. Yeah. And there was a I think it was Wolves, a Wolverhampton fan walking down next to the Leicester fans towards the end of the game, doing the helicopter signs and what have you. And he actually came on to the channel. I believe it was him.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I believe it was him. He didn't want to come on camera, which I understood, but he came on and he apologised. He said, I was being childish, blah, 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 got carried away. But these fans that are doing this will be the same fans that were criticising that guy for doing what he did.
Yeah. And
is there any difference between that?
I think it's all shit, to be honest. I think it's all unnecessary, disgusting. I mean, I understand, like you, well, you're not a fan of Rudkin, are you? But the guy has overseen some pretty good times as well. You know, and no club like Leicester can go through 10 years of being in the top 5. I mean, it's just not going to happen. We haven't got the resources. We're not that lucky. We don't sell a player for 60 million now and get 5 in and then sell them. Now, whose fault's that? yeah, director of football maybe, but he's only one man. And I think you've got to be careful who you blame and who you wish for, as we always say. I mean, the football at the moment is frustratingly unattractive, but then football is unattractive. If you think about it, if you want excitement, you're in the wrong place. And it was unattractive under Maresca. Chelsea moan like crap about him. I mean, what do they want? We're only about 4 points off the playoffs, aren't we?
Yep. Yeah.
And,
4 points.
and we've been absolutely dreadful.
Yeah.
Absolutely dreadful. We're still only 4 points off the playoffs. So we've got to be a bit careful. I think, forget football to a degree, though. I think these people's minds or their mouths, it's dreadful. I mean, it's disgusting. And I just can't. I mean, I've read a statement from, was it the Bentley's Roof Liberation Front or something like that last week? I mean,
you mean those that were in that Monty Python film? I remember.
The Judeans People Front. Yeah,
yeah, but they're saying we're not going to take this. We will continue to boo, organised booing. We'll choreographed booing. That's what they said. I mean, what is all this? Seriously, you know. I mean, it's like kids at junior school. You know, let's all pick our noses and flick it at you, that type of thing. And you know, they say things like, "We hope further action won't be necessary, but if we feel it's necessary, we will do it." Who the hell are you to say?
Yeah, now that leads me very nicely on to the next point. But before I do that, I just want to say, Dave, congratulations on colour coordinating your top with that part of the wall behind you.
All that wide?
No. With the strip of wall down the side. Yes.
My daughter's in Surrey this week.
I was going to say, because you live in a flat and yet you've got. Is that like are you on the set of Coronation Street where you've got a set of stairs that actually don't go anywhere?
Actually, Chris, it's an apartment.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I apologise.
You're welcome.
Oh, Craig's gone. Wayne, let's bring this up because this was what was said. Has anybody else lost Craig, or is it just me?
Yeah, we've lost Craig.
It's froze, mate.
Right. Well, we'll have to be like that for the time being. I don't know if I can get. Let's go like that until he comes back. This was from Fox's Trust. Now, when you've got your main Fox's Trust coming out, now I'm not saying that this is right. I'm not saying that this is wrong. But what they've put out basically, this was a couple of weeks ago. Our club currently finds itself in the bottom half of the Championship after 2 relegations in 3 years, facing potential points deduction and continued financial uncertainty. Much of the squad continued to show a lack of commitment, fight and quality under yet another managerial regime, while decisions like the shirt sponsorship stir controversy and resentment. Within the ever-dwindling crowds, there is a mixture of apathy, anger, division and toxicity. Despite this decline and despite the findings of the Trust survey, the club has maintained its long-held radio silence. We are therefore again calling on the club to break that silence and communicate openly. Now is the time for senior management to show leadership and set out a plan for our future. Only then can togetherness return, both in the stands and throughout the club. Now, I get the sentiment, but is that kind of not starting the fire?
Yeah, I think it is, Chris. In fact, you know, there's been a lot of word entitled used, and it's interesting when the definition of entitled is so someone is entitled to mean they believe they deserve special treatment, privileges, or rewards without having earned them. Often comes with a "you owe me" attitude, and I think that's the attitude of a lot of the. I ask all my older customers who have been season ticket holders for 20, 30, 40 years. None of them feel as often the voice is. And what's really interesting, I did watch a Norwich, I think he does a championship pod. There's an Orange fan. It was a 20-minute video. And he basically went into why Norwich in the bottom 2 and looking like they're going to go down to League One. and basically said we had a new director of football, new owner. He set up a new director of football. He appointed a young manager who develops young talent to bring them on to sell them. We just missed the playoffs. He completely changed everything, and everything. We spent 50 million, and it's all gone to shit, basically. So he's describing yet another championship club that are trying to do exactly what Leicester, Southampton, Ipswich are trying to do. Some fans feel that we have an absolute right to be in the Premier League, to not have difficulty. You have to work hard for what your success is. Pearson worked so hard to develop that side into the Great Escape and the Premier winning season, and then they had to invest a lot of money for Rodgers to play the best football we've ever played, in my humble opinion, as Leicester City. And then things go wrong, and you can't just click your fingers and things go wrong.
That is football. Whatever one manager develops, another manager will come in and knock away the foundations, and it all crumbles. Unfortunately, that's the thing with changing managers. Maybe that's why Ferguson was so successful at Man United, because he was there so long. And I know Arsenal fans aren't particularly keen on me saying this, but again, with Arsene Wenger, he was there so long, but they were never outside the top half of the league, and they got entitled when they didn't qualify for the Champions League because they felt they should. But entitled fans, and this is something I've got written down here, Dave, since we won the Premier League, and I said this tongue-in-cheek, and obviously it is only a comment, is in some ways I was wondering if it's the worst thing that ever happened to us. Because since then, and bear me out with this one, because obviously winning it was amazing, and I'd do it again. But I just think since then, we have got entitled fans. We have got a section of the fans that think that we are. They're turning into Manchester United fans. They're turning into, Spurs fans. They're just because it's that club that they're entitled to it. We won the Premier League. We then tried, and this was interesting because when I was watching the Forest Leeds game, I was sat next to a Leeds fan, and I said, "We kind of followed in your footsteps. In that, you won the league just before it became the Premier League. You got to the semi-finals of the Champions League or whatever the equivalent was then, and you went on a spending spree to try and keep that up. Which, in fairness, is probably what we did, but." It's now how many years? I mean, was it 10 years ago when we won the Premier League? So a lot of the younger end fans, probably some of those that were shouting this sort of stuff, have only known success at Leicester and therefore expect it.
Yeah, possibly. I think for that next few years, we just revelled in it, really. And especially as Arsenal have not won it since, that makes it even more special. But I think the problem is, and I think Craig might have touched on this, the writer was on the cards 5 years ago. We had 2 seasons where we should have finished in Champions League, and I think we lost the last couple of games and dropped out into 5th or 6th. And that should have shown you that things have started to crack. The difference between us then and Ferguson would have had these superstars out, like he did with Beckham and Keane and people like that, and replace them. We couldn't do that because we kind of stopped recruiting sensibly and wisely. And that the crash has just come from there. I mean, 22-23, was it?
But do you think, and
I don't feel entitled. I mean, I was there in 60.
Yeah, but you're like like me. You're an old git. So
surely these kids, and I know they're not that bright, but surely they're bright enough to see. Well, this isn't Leicester's norm behaviour.
But they're not, though, are they? Manchester United, and I will always say this, because of the length of time that Fergie had success at Man United, they forget that pre-Fergie, Man United were just a Tottenham Hotspur. It was Liverpool that were dominant.
Well,
and it's taken Liverpool 23 years to get back to that.
Man United were the first English club to win the European Cup.
Oh yeah, but what I'm saying is, I don't give a shit.
Babes were classics.
Dave, let me bin. I don't really give. I mean, whether they won the first or not, they were not. It was Liverpool that were winning it year in, year out. Liverpool were the dominant. Man United would go out and buy all the players they could, and they won the occasional FA Cup. But Fergie did that. Changed it all around. It took Liverpool 23 years to win another Premier League, and yet Manchester United fans think, well, they should have been doing it 2 years after getting rid of Moyes.
Yeah,
and that, I think is what has happened with these Leicester fans, is that they look at it, they've seen top 5 finishes. Which, let's be honest with you, for Leicester was brilliant. They've seen winning the Premier League, quarterfinals of the Champions League, last English team in there, last British team in there, FA Cup win. They've seen all that and think, this is the norm. Why aren't we doing this?
But do you think? Yeah, I agree. That's definite a thing. But do you think the Man United fans are behaving like the Leicester fans are now, or up to a month ago?
I think they were when the Glaziers were in there.
They hated the Glazers. That's a good point. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know whether there was what they were singing or chanting, obviously, but there was hatred towards the Glaziers.
I think they just bought new shirts, didn't they?
Yeah. Thing is, though, Glaziers, when they were in, they backed Fergie 100%.
Yeah.
What I want to say, and welcome back, Craig. By the way, I hope you feel relieved now you've had your pee break. Is it a sad indictment of the world or even the country that we live in now that we feel that we can get away with that? Youngsters, and I'm saying youngsters 30 years old and younger, they've no respect to the police. That they see somebody's just been knocked over and is dying in the middle of the road. Their first thought is to get the mobile phones out and film it so they can have their 2 minutes of fame on ITN News or whatever. The world, there is the world as we know it today. I don't think you'd have got that 10, 15 years ago.
I don't think you would, but you can't necessarily blame people for the world that they've been brought up in. It is the time, and if we were that age now, would we be behaving any different? We might not be, because we've, those kids have grown up in a world of social media and TV. God knows how many channels, and gaming, and God knows what. It's an isolationist world that we live in, and one of the few things that brings people together in a group is football, is organized sport, because the rest of the time most of them are just living alone, or they're on their own, and their friendship groups are all online. That is their world. So it's in some ways, I'm not defending.
That's me you just described.
Yeah, I'm not. It's and you've only got to look at some of the other parades, shall we say, that go on around the country for other things outside of football. It's not just kids that behave like that. It's a societal problem, and it's a world that is driven by headlines rather than facts. People don't bother to look behind any headline. They'll react to a headline, and they don't. In this world where so much information is at people's fingertips, the desire to get information before reacting is totally, just not there. So people just live in these groups, and it's a sad indictment of the times, I think. It'd be interesting to know if other clubs have similar fans, how did Burnley fans react when they had a couple of bad seasons going down? How was Southampton? Is every club?
Well, I'll tell you what. Stay tuned at 9 o'clock tonight, and I've got Dan on the late football show.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I wonder if it'd be interesting to get an outsider's perspective.
I'll make a note of that. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, of whether it is, every football club has this kind of group of fans these days. Obviously, they're all online. But does it translate over into the stadium and following the team? It wouldn't surprise me if it does, to be honest. And it is just sad the way football's going, you know, and the monetization of it, and it's just football, like the world, isn't how it used to be and how we all enjoyed it. You know, everything's a commodity nowadays, and it's all about money and instant glory.
True. I mean, Wayne, I've put another statement up there, and in fairness to Fox's Trust, because I put the other one up. Leicester has a proud tradition of being an inclusive and respectful community. We support our team and express our views openly because we care deeply about the club and its future success. However, some of the chants heard on Saturday in the away end against Norwich crossed the line. We condemn in the strongest possible terms any language that incites harm towards individuals. We also reject divisive, racist or hate-related chanting of all forms. We all stand together as supporters, united in the belief that home for everyone in the Leicester City community is King Power Stadium, regardless of race, belief or background. Like any community, we are strongest when we stick together through good times and bad. We call on all Leicester City supporters to end hateful chanting and to express our views with passion, but always with respect. I don't think anybody could have written it better.
No,
yeah, interesting. I went on to just gauge what people were saying about the conversation, and some of the comments by people basically seemingly justifying some of the things that were said. I just can't believe it, to be honest. He says the toxicity is being brought on by mismanagement. Those who haven't been held accountable are culpable. Yeah, some of the chants are over the line, but look at the root cause of the incompetence. You know, what a shambles the club is. Can't even voice your opinion at a footy match, let alone let off some steam. You know, but it's just that it's saying, to me, that seems to be saying that it's acceptable. And it's just completely not acceptable. You know, you can be passionate, but you can still be respectful. Look at rugby players; they give no quarter on the pitch, but they shake hands afterwards and they respect each other. And I think football is culpable, because I remember when COVID came along, all of a sudden there were no crowds, and you can hear a Liverpool midfielder calling the referee an effing twat and all that sort of thing. Then the Premier League, hang on a minute. People can hear actually what the players are saying to the ref. We need to bring in some behaviour protocols. How long did that last? As soon as the crowds come back, they didn't do anything about it. So that's football's culpable, and they're the examples of the young kids and of the parents shouting. Now, if you go and see kids or grandkids or your nephews and nieces, you're not allowed to be on the same side of the pitch as the kids and the coaches. They're separated because the parents are swearing at the coaches and that. It's a problem through football, and football should be able to sort it out.
Yeah, Kevin makes a good point there, which I said it is hypocrisy. Man United complained, I don't know which way around it was, but I think Man United complained possibly last season or the season before about Liverpool fans chanting about the Munich air disaster. And then when it went on the return fixture, Man United fans were chanting about Hillsborough. You know, it's just, you know, I'm just
our fans with the helicopter thing, wasn't it? Chanting that.
I think it's important. It's important, and I hope everybody involved, particularly in the football club, realise that it is a minority. But like in life in general these days, if you shout loud, you get noticed more. The silent majority, you know, it would be great if the silent majority could mobilise and become the vocal majority.
Can I just say something else about, because I remember back in the 70s, all sorts of evil things being said and done. And there was do you remember Harry Roberts?
Yeah.
He was a complete cop murderer. And there was a chant about that. And I sang it, but it didn't mean anything, you know? So what Craig said about the herd thing, or Wayne or one of them said, that might be part of it, that they don't really get what they're saying and they don't really mean it if you had a one-on-one with them, or, you know, and that's something that's got to be taken into account. And they're only kids, aren't they? I'm not making excuses. I mean,
well, are they only kids? I mean, I'm sure there's 30 30, 35, 40-year-olds in there that are singing it.
Don't
You
know.
know, and
I don't know, mate.
I think if you look at the away end, and the away fans are pretty much the same wherever you go. It's a mixture. I will grant you there's some youngsters in there. I think it is. My mind has just completely gone blank. Then I was about to say something really intelligent and deep.
Oh, that's
deep
why.
meaning.
He's blown a fuse.
And I have. But yeah, it is all ages. That's what I was going to say, Dave. That's what I was going to say. Again, look, I'm not going to make this into a big political or social problem, but when you're out, if you say the F word now, it's just part of the conversation. You know, years ago, you'd looked at it and you would, was it Brian Clough who put up a sign at the football ground, "Gentlemen, please no swearing"?
Yeah.
Now you're down the pub and it's, oh God, I went out last night and I couldn't find an effing parking space. It's just a word now that's just normally used. And again, that's society having changed. And I think behaviour that we look at and go, don't agree with that years ago, now it is common practice.
Yep.
One last question, and whoever wants to come in on this, because I, being on holiday in Lanzarote and watching it down the pub, as soon as the final whistle went, we went off to get another pint. Hi Ian, by the way, if you're watching this. I doubt he is. If he is, I'll be a bit worried because he's still over there. Did the Leicester City players at the end of the match, and Marty, did they go over and applaud the away fans, as in the Leicester City fans? Does anybody know that? Spencer, if you're still in, do you know you were there? Do you know that? Because I hope they didn't.
From the photos I've seen, I think they did. And I think a lot of that is you've got to be respectful of those that are not chanting that, who've spent their money and travelled a long way to a place that's not easy to get to. And obviously with the emotion of the late win, and by all accounts, they were singing, "We love you, Leicester" at the end, as they would, because we actually turned it around. That I think, that shared emotion of grabbing a late victory, I think from what I saw in terms of pictures, that they did go over to the fans.
I mean, on a personal point of view, I think the players should have said "fuck 'em" and walked straight off down the tunnel, because those fans that were then not singing it might just start to turn on those that are singing it.
That's a wishful world, Chris.
Yeah, no, right. Of course it is. Of course it is. But what I don't want, and we've seen this before, is fans fighting fans of the same club. That's the last thing we want to see. But I'm sorry that I've had a Martin Cifuentes or whoever was there down there with him going, "Get the players down here now. Don't send them over," because you just, in my mind, praising bad behaviour and these sort of chant. But
they're damned either way, aren't they? Though.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed they are. Yeah, indeed they are. Didn't look like Spencer's still in, but it would have been, like you say, from the pictures, it probably did show that. But anyway, thank you very much, gentlemen. No football this weekend, so you can have a few days off, Wayne. We'll be back next week, and I'll get another couple of games in before I go away on holiday again. I'm what?
Terrible, Chris. Anybody think you worked really hard in the week to justify all these holidays?
Yeah, this just sort of comes together. I'm here for Stoke, and I'm here for Southampton, and I'm here for Sheffield United.
Yeah, that's nice of you.
It is. I'm away for Derby because I'm seeing my daughters in London that day, and then I'm away for Bristol City, and I'm away for Ipswich as well. So there we go.
So take the year off.
Holidays when you're actually here, Chris. I mean,
It would be easier. It would be easier. Yeah, what can I say? You know, I mean, come on, Craig, support me here. You have a few.
I do. To be fair, you have more days off though than our midfield.
That's impossible. That's impossible. Skip's back.
You two have got a holiday home with Kate or something.
Yeah, she's tied up there now. That's why she's not here.
Yes, you're saving it for later, aren't you? I have nowhere to go after that. Dave, can I ask you a big favour? I wanted to talk radio with you. If you can just stay on after this for 2 minutes, I would be grateful. Craig and Wayne and Dave, thank you so very much for this. Hopefully next week we'll be sat here saying what a wonderful game it was. And, you know, we won 5-0 and we're back up to within touching distance. No, it's not going to happen, is it? No, it's not really. But thanks so much for going on. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Do what it says at the bottom there. Subscribe, like, share, and press all your knobs and buttons. It'll make you happy, if not me. I will see you in a... Oh! Kathy keeps looking back.
Just a quick one. Dave, let me know when you finish with Chris and I'll give you a buzz as well.
Yeah, I've sent you a message.
All right, cheers.
All right, that's my dinner that keeps going backwards and forwards.
All right, okay.
Is she just walking around in circles?
Well, I didn't mean Kathy. I meant that's pudding.
You eat what you want to eat, Dave. On that note, thank you, everybody. I'll see you at
nice to see you, boys. Nice
to
see you.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You'd better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.